Hello and welcome to Geek It Plays Epic Landscape Tutorials. This is episode number 13 in the series and it's called Western. Let's begin by right-clicking on our render options, setting it to render to screen, and let's set a free user-defined aspect ratio. And let's just change it to 600 by 240. And we'll have an extremely wide angle panoramic view. Now we're going to move our camera, select the main camera, and this is where we want it about. Okay, now let's go ahead and create our first terrain. We're going to let's go ahead and resize this. Let's stretch it out about like this. Right click and edit object. And let's reset the terrain, and let's click on options and go to reset filter. Okay? Now so we have our plain terrain. Let's go to the paint and use the raise tool and size to half, softness a little bit more, and flow even a little bit more. And we just want to create just some quick, fast little bumps. Just kind of all over. Okay. And let's go to effects and stones. We're going to just keep clicking on stones and just adding tons. Okay, let's double click on our resolution and increase it to 1024 by 1024. Let's go to paint and to altitude, and let's set the altitude to 10 and decrease the size and the softness all the way down and the flow just a little bit up like this. Okay, and we're just gonna go and start creating a little river right here, just notching out. Something like this. Just create a nice shape. It doesn't have to be exactly like we're doing it here. And you'll notice we're kind of going along these darker green areas since the altitude here is already lower. And so we're just slowly eroding in this nice little river. Something like this. And we've chosen to do a windy river here, but you can just do the river however you want. It's up to you. Okay. Now let's go to effects and add some pebbles and a little bit more stones. And that will just give us a little bit nicer edge and give us more details on that edge we just cut. Okay, let's go ahead and preview this. And you can see our river, how it's kind of flowing through. Next, let's add some mountains to this background here. Let's increase the size, and we're just going to put this one right about here. Let's edit the object, and we're going to go to options and edit filter, and we're going to just play with our altitude lines here. Click OK, and let's preview what we have. Here we go. Looks kind of interesting. Let's go ahead and clip the edges though so we don't have any sharp ones. Let's click OK and let's drop down this mountain to the ground. And just kind of reposition it a little bit. Now let's edit object again, and let's try something a little bit different. Let's click on zero edges. And let's just give this mountain a makeover. Let's click options. Okay. And let's click on mountain. Okay. That looks a little bit better. Let's click OK. I'm going to increase the size and then rotate it around a bit so we can see the shorter side as well. There. And kind of have some steps here, and that'll be nice. Okay, and let's change the resolution so it'll give it more detail. And let's add another terrain. Something in the background over here. Okay, let's edit object. And we already have a filter that's being applied to this, so all we need to do is increase the resolution and do the clipping, click OK, and drop it to the ground with the drop button. Okay, let's preview this, and this is our landscape so far, and it kind of looks like our mountains were created by some kind of lake or ocean or sea or something like that, and the water just cut through the rocks and dried up and left interesting mountains. So to apply a material to these, we'll need to create a special one. And so let's go into our materials, and we've pre-created some materials, and these specific materials are available in the Epic Landscape Booster Pack on our website. They're also available on another tutorial in this series. We teach you how to create them. And if you want to save some time, you could just go to the website and purchase the booster pack. And there are several materials and supplementals that come in this booster pack. For instance, the landscapes. We've created some preset ones. And also rocks. And we're going to use the western rock that we've pre-created for this one. And let's open. And this will be our rock color. It's kind of red from, deposits from the ocean floor and iron turning red here. And you can see how interesting it's already starting to look. And okay, let's go to this terrain and let's add a material. And we're going to choose a landscape, and this is the preset red mountains that we've created. Let's just go over how this was created really quick. Then we created iron slides. This was to simulate how when the water was depositing more iron into the rock. And that's created some nice shapes here at this color in the bitmap. And then we edited the function, and what we did in the function editor was we added these basic repeaters and we set them to the coloring and the bitmap, so it gives us these extra layers, and then we also added some extra noise. Okay, click OK, and this is what we had here. Now we also added some small rocks and then some dry grass, and that's going to go down here at the bottom of the mountains. And then we added a red sand, an overall pollution type layer, and then we added sand, so you'll see that on the top of the mountains over here, right here. So if you look at the top of the mountains, you'll see sand from the plants and other things. So here's our red mountains landscape material we've pre-created. One thing we want to do is go to bumps, and let's decrease the depth a little bit. There we go. Click OK. And we're going to apply this to this mountain, and also select terrain number 3, and let's apply this same. Open it. Okay. Let's preview it. I'll just wait a minute for it to render. And you can see we already have very interesting mountains with a red desert feel, something you might be seeing in a western movie. Okay, let's click on ground and let's apply the same rock material, the western rock, to the ground, and that'll fix these little areas that didn't have anything on them. Okay, a couple of things we want to add here are some rocks. We're just going to place a few of these around here. And something interesting that we're going to do is make the rocks balance on each other. And if you've ever been to the Midwestern United States, like somewhere around Utah, there are some very interesting rock formations. They just look like they're balancing on each other. So if you ever get a chance to visit Utah, you'll want to visit the southern part and check out the rock formations. They're really neat. And if not, just go ahead and look on the web and just view some of the pictures there. Very interesting. Okay, let's just add a couple more rocks here. And as you can see, we're going for a very unique look here. Maybe a couple more rocks. And take your time and work with the rocks until you get some interesting shapes. You can increase the size, rotate it, find the most interesting shape in your rocks, and place them until you're happy with what you have. Okay? And these will be nice little points of interest to add into your piece. And as I'm finishing up placing these rocks, I'd just like to remind you to come to our website and post your work on our forum and share what you've done with us. I'm going to make this last rock a little bit bigger, and I'm going to put it far away. So in order for it to be seen, it needs to be bigger. So let's just place it right over here somewhere. And we're starting to have an interesting composition, so let's go Shift and select all of our rocks, and we're going to add a material to it. And let's go to the lighter western rock and open that. Let's go now to our main terrain, and we're going to add an ecosystem. Under the General tab, let's add rock, and also add plants, and let's choose a dry weeds. Okay. Let's go to the scaling and make them smaller and decrease the density. Let's populate and see what we have so far. Okay, we need to decrease the density even more. We just want a few scattered here and there. Okay. Also, let's go to our materials, and we're going to choose the rocks, and let's change the rocks to western rock. Okay. And let's go to our dry weed, and let's do a color blend and edit a color. We're going to add a little bit of a dry reddish color. Next, let's increase the blend and enable the color mask. Okay, now it looks like it matches the terrain a little bit better and it's more dried out. If you wanted to, you could add water to this area instead, but we wanted to go for a desert look. Okay, let's preview what we have so far. It's looking very good. Let's go ahead and change these rocks up a little bit. Make them smaller and drop them a little bit. Make them more interesting. Let's go back to our second rock. I'm just going to put it down right here and place it like this. Okay. And at this point we're just adjusting and tweaking things. Maybe rotate this large rock up a little bit more. And we'll just make this one a little bit smaller. And put it in the mountainside a little bit, make it look more embedded. Okay. Let's go to our atmosphere and atmosphere editor. And what we want to do is just add some clouds. And go to spectral right here. And let's add the high cumulus. Okay. And that just gives it a more realistic look. Let's decrease the shadow density because the shadows are overpowering our foreground here. Maybe a little bit less. And we may choose to remove the shadow altogether. We'll just wait and see how it looks now. Okay. Next, let's go to light and let's increase the light intensity a bit. Okay, I actually think these settings are really nice, so we're going to use it like this. Let's click OK. Let's do our final rendering. Click on Render and Final and 800 by 320. Click OK. And let's just render our final image. And here we have our western landscape. And I really like the colors and the materials that have been used in this piece and how nicely they've applied to the hills. And You may wish to add some more rocks here. These rocks are really interesting to look at, so you might want to add a few more. Again, I'd like to thank you for watching this tutorial by Geek at Play Studios. Please come and visit us on the web at www.geekatplay.com.